Hi everybody, my name is Shannon. Welcome to my channel, Another Yarn. Thank you so much for joining me today. I greatly appreciate it. I don't know if you saw yesterday's video. I was talking about going on a knitting retreat with Galena Kameloville. I don't say Russian names very well at all, but she is the author of Gossamer Webs and other books, and she has been published in Pieceworks magazine, front cover multiple times in Knitting Traditions. If you're interested in traditional historic type of lace, Orenburg lace, traditional Russian lace, she is your go-to person. So I put in a bunch of links in yesterday's video of go find some of the things that she's done, different channels, different things along that line. I know she does about 6 or so shows a year, teaching events, things like that. She'll be in Estes Park at the Wool Market Festival. I believe that's the beginning of June. I'll be there also. I'll be there for Market Days, which is just the go around shopping and buying yarn. So if you're in Colorado and you see me, come up and say hi. But she'll be there the couple days prior to, because they have their 3 and 6 hour classes the 2 days before. I'll miss that one with her, but I'm sure I'll schedule something else. So I have been just smitten with this right here, not just this book, but the patterns from going to the lace class. And I'm going to show you, I was working on stuff. I mean, that's the chart that I'm trying to play with. So I was working with my purple yarn with my size 0 wooden needles, and I had to transfer, and just trying to get the scallops, just the little border like that. And I got progress from yesterday. So this will not look like much at all unless you saw yesterday's video. If so definitely go back, watch it. I could use the clicks and the likes and the watch hours. There you go. Look at that. Okay, look how stunning that is. Oh my gosh, that right there. And all I had yesterday, I was working on now the borders from here to here, and this is done. This is done all in one piece. You don't have Kitchener stitch, you're not sewing it up afterwards, you're not sewing it on afterwards. So I started with the border, and here's my little tail, and I went like this all the way, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth doing the border. And then a fancy magical thing, wow, short rows around the corner over here. Do I have paper? There we go. Oh, I've got a paper. I have a paper. Oh my gosh, brilliant. Use the things that we have around. So now we can see. So I did short rows, and this one is not, these are straight across, right? These little teeth, but this one's on an angle. Oh my. So short rows to there, went across, and then did short rows on the other side. So this is what I'm working on. I got a lot done since yesterday. It doesn't look like it, but like I said, this ball is 600 yards. 600. This is lace weight. This is actual lace weight, there you go. And really tiny, and I'm using size 0 knitting needles. And that border is stunning. I am really happy I took the time to do that. These little diamonds in there, I was able to visually do the zigzags without too much issue. But putting those diamonds in there, it doesn't look like much, but just remembering where they go, where they start, which way you do the, do I do the knit 2 together before or after the yarn over? It shouldn't be that hard. It should not be that hard. The women who have done the traditional Orenburg lace, like I said, this is a cottage industry. 12,500 women were employed, and this was their entire livelihood of making these ornate, gorgeous, beautiful shawls. They had these things memorized. They didn't have charts. They didn't have graphs. They didn't have highlighter tape like I'm using. And I'm telling you, maybe I'm stubborn or whatever. I don't generally use the highlighter tape. I'm using it. I'm using it. And I had a friend ask me, it's like, well, what is so hard about this lace? Nothing. It's not. It's just knitting. It's knit and yarn overs, well-placed yarn overs, and some really nicely placed knit 2 together. There's no purl. You don't have slip knit. It's just knit 2 together, yarn over, and knitting. But I think what it is, is where the other styles of lace do have those paired decreases, and then they have those lines, right? You know, as you're decreasing, like when you're making the leaf motif and stuff, it's predictive. It's some of the patterns are very predictive, and I can look at the chart and I'm like, oh, I get it. I'm always doing this, and I can follow it. For this one, since it's all in garter stitch, I'm not visually seeing those same cues. That's all. So again, it's a mental thing with me. So I am bound and determined to do something with this. I am absolutely determined. And Galena gave me this pattern and said, okay, this is one of hers, right? You know, I'm not showing it up real close. I don't have a picture of it done. I saw quite a few of her things done in her collections. It was stunning. So I don't have a picture of this, but it's going to be beautiful. And I finished that border, and then I've got, I grabbed the paper for a reason, right? And here's the border line right there. And now I'm starting to go up with the pattern. And as you can see, I have a little yarn over right there. And it's I know I don't have much of it, but I've started it. And that's exciting to me. The border was just, again, it's not hard. My issue, I didn't want to use highlighter tape. Hello, lady, get over yourself. Use the highlighter tape. I didn't want to have to look at the chart every single row. Hello, lady, get over yourself, look at the chart. And what that did is it made me unknit about as much as I was knitting, in some cases more, because it's like, oh, I've got it, and then I'm off by a stitch. Okay, well, where did I go off by a stitch? Then I'm ripping out 2 rows and putting it back in. This is not something, since it is so very tiny, for me to think, oh, well, I can just drop down. Yeah, that's tiny little stitches on tiny little needles. That's hard to pick back up. I've shown picking up stitches before, and depending on the yarn and the needles, it's not an issue. On this, a little more hesitant. I like to think I do know how to knit, and I do know how to crochet, because I do. But this is getting me, and it's all mental. 100% mental. My girlfriend was asking me, so what is it so difficult? I'm stubborn. It'd go so much faster if I would just use the tape every row. Hello, like that's hard. Or, you know, counting the stitches and everything. I do have some stitch markers in here, so that's nice. I did put in stitch markers to make things a little bit easier. This is going to be a beautiful scarf. Yeah, I mean, that's a decent width, right? Just a gorgeous, lacy, stunning scarf. And then it's going to stretch. You know, that'll be blocked out. I'm about ready to lose my book. Don't lose the book. But you see, that's going to be stretched out, those holes and everything. You know, that's going to be just stunning. And, oh, can we get that? Can we see some of those rows? Yeah, see, oh, there you go. See, I've got some patterning going on right there. All righty. So that, if you looked at my lace piece where I showed, I think it was yesterday, where I showed what I did in my practice, and that was in fingering weight yarn, and I had a flower, and I had nups in that one, mushki, meaning beauty mark. Okay, so I had those in there. Now this is going that same lily of the valley type of lace pattern that goes like this, but without the nubs. Okay, you know, I'm following the pattern as written. I'm good with that. And then it goes into that flower in that center, the thistle stitch, where you've got a lot of increases and decreases and stuff on both sides. And let me see. Okay, Galena said that she tried to write this one maybe a little bit easier than the last pattern that I worked on. I'm not there yet, but when I get to that part, I'll be able to report back to her that, yes, it was easier, or no, it wasn't. You know, I mean, all you can do is what you can do, right? So I might be able to assist with that and everything. And I just really, for me personally, I would like to have a piece that is closer to being done, that is closer to correct. Because let's face it, when you're learning a new skill, there's going to be mistakes. And I'm going to try to make as few as possible. There you go. I'll try. But I would love to do that. And I would love to schedule or do, like I said before, do a little cyber sleuthing, find out where she's going to be, and register for another class and bring a project with me that I have made. And that's really where I'm at. That's where I'm on with that, because this is a challenge on a new level. This last year for me, I've done a lot of color work, and that has been so much fun. And it was a challenge. It really was. I went from, oh, I don't have it sitting right here, do I? No. I've increased over the years on my ability to do color work, and very proud of that. And, you know, just trying to, last year I did a lot of things that I hadn't done before, a lot of new skills, and working on them. Some of them I've worked on a bunch, and others, like the brioche, I did a hat. Okay, well, the first time I played with brioche, I did a cowl and pretty much left it. Oh, I should probably show you that. Maybe in another video I'll show you that one, because I got it back, my first piece. So on that, I didn't continue with it. I did a little bit of the simple stitch brioche later in some of the Stephen West shawls. Very, very simple, not the ornate that looks like massive cables and moving around and just the flowing that brioche is so known for, and it's gorgeous. So I haven't done any more ornate stuff. I did enough to say I did it. I scratched that itch. Okay, because, you know, sometimes we have that. And truthfully, with the Orenburg lace, my sample piece that I made in my retreat, that would fit a nice size pillow or framing. And I'm not sure how big it'll be when I block it and actually wet block it. I've got it pinned out, but I've got it dry and I don't have it stretched, but I just wanted to see what it looked like kind of pinned out. But on that, if I wanted to, like, look, I was successful because I did something. I made a sampler. I was successful. I made this, and I could move on and go, okay, I did it, but I don't want to maybe do a bunch. But that's not where I'm at right now. I really want to, unlike the brioche, which is gorgeous, just didn't jump in and like, I must make tons of it. I want to make this scarf. I want to do this. And I'd love to be able to, you know, show people how to do stuff like that. So I've got my friend who was able to go to the retreat with me, and we'll continue to work through this. I've got other friends that are local if they're interested. I'm like, hey, check it out. Let's work on this. And, you know, they might pick it up easier. Again, it's knitting yarn overs and knit two together. That is the majority of it. So the stitches are not difficult. It's looking at the chart and not being stubborn like me, and use the highlighter tape or those magnetic boards. I've got one of those too, right? Or however you need to track to know what stitches you're on so you have less frustration, and just going that route, and one stitch counts. There you go. And had I not been so stubborn, I would be a little farther along. But I also think, for me personally, because, you know, we live in our own skin, I think part of it's going to stick a little bit more. It's going to be one of those like, oh, yeah, I can do this. And I'm starting to get that border. Oh, I want to have that thing memorized, and that will make things easier. And then the other thing, too, that's really nice on this pattern that Galena wrote, it has some parts that are more predictable. Yes. And that means that the stuff between this red marker and this green marker, all of that is a bit more predictable, which means easier to go through. And then there's this border that I have not memorized yet, but I will, right? I will. I have faith in me. It's going to happen. So that's why once I finished the border and turned the corners, okay, I had to do it a couple times, but I got it, right? I got it. Because, you know, that's just how that works. But doing this little bit, that little bit right there, you know, it doesn't look like much, but let's see if I can stretch that. Paper. There we go. Move the book. But doing that bit here and having that little bit of, let me stretch it, that lace and everything, you can see the darker and lighter right through the center here is just stockinette. So not stockinette, it's just garter stitch. But as I get more stitches on it, more rows, it's pretty hard to see at this point. It's hard for me to see it, and I'm sitting a couple inches away from it, but it's still such an accomplishment. If you, like I said, if you have not seen yesterday's video, definitely look at that. I think I had like that much of the border. So this was sheer determination after yesterday's video. And then as soon as I got home, that's what I was working on. I'm like, I want to do this. I have to do this. I want to have some progress for me. I've been working on lots of different things and finding stuff and you know, old projects, new projects and everything. And I think this is the first real project started, it's at least weeks. I mean, I've started baby things, but I started them and finished them for the baby, right? You know, baby Noah, right? So I've started and finished those, so I don't really count those. I'm talking about a larger, long-term, it's going to be a while kind of project. I haven't started one of those in a while. I've picked up things and continued to work on things. I found things in stash that I had started literally years ago and picked those up. But a start from scratch, whole cloth, let me pick up something that's going to take a while and some concentration, I haven't done. For that matter, I've not done lace in a long time. I've gone, fingering weight is about the smallest I've gone to in a very, very long time. So to me, this is exciting because it's getting back to my roots. My crafting, if you weren't familiar, I started with crocheting. I was 10 years old and I learned how to crochet. My mom was a great teacher. She taught me how, and I picked it up, and it was by far my favorite. No doubt, it was my first love. And I did a lot of thread crochet. I did doilies, and I did a bedspread, I did doilies, I did all sorts of things and loved it. And just the creativity that you can work with crocheting, right? And I wanted to do the knitting because of the cables and lace, the different pliability of the fabric. So that lace has always been a love of mine. And I realized I haven't done a lace piece in a while. I've done some lace-ish things, but with fingering weight yarn, not the lace weight, not the really fine, not the extra added layer of difficulty. So I don't know if it's a crazy thing on my part or what, but I'm adding the extra layer of difficulty. And I just want to see how gorgeous it is. I want to block this out, and it's not going to be the same, obviously, as those handmade heirloom pieces that I showed yesterday with the Orenburg lace out of Gossamer Webs yarn. I mean, just like sewing thread, right? And it's not going to be like that, but it'll be my piece. It'll be something of me repeating history. It'll be something of showing my teacher in this realm, because we all have abilities to learn. We all have abilities to pick things up. It'll be showing my teacher in this realm, you did a good job. She knows she does good. I mean, come on. She's been doing this this has been her mission. She knows she does a great job teaching. But it'll be one like, hey, look, see, I picked it up. Look, see, I was able to make something. And that's what I want to do. We all want to make somebody proud, right? In some form, way, form, or fashion. And I want to be able to bring my piece and go, see, look, I did good. Especially since in the weekend, right? Because we all have different skill levels. Yes, I can knit. You've seen me make sweaters. Yes, I can knit. We've seen different things that I make. But in this instance, with this technique and just being an open sponge learning, I was a kindergartner holding that big crayon for the first time going, is this how we do it? Is this how we do it? You know, trying to color in lines and not doing a good job. That's where I was at. And it's good to do that every once in a while. It's good to be humbled. And I was very much humbled in being in her presence with the knitting and the experience that she has, and knowing she's an expert in her field. I mean, I'll get people say, oh, you knit fast. No, not really. You know, faster than some, slower than others, but no, I was over here going, okay, I got one stitch, I've removed two. I've got one stitch, I've removed three. I got 4 stitches. Yeah, I only removed 1. You know, that's how I was all throughout the retreat. So it was fantastic to be in that position. Like I said, I was humbled, but not in a negative way. Definitely not. It was wonderful to be with somebody who had so much skill and that could just show me things that I had no idea of, because you don't know what you don't know. I'm like, what? You do short row corners in lace? I mean, I've done short row on different things before, and different shawls and what have you, but it never dawned on me to do short rows around this curve right here. And my mind was blown. So there were so many different techniques to be able to pick up and look at. And as she commented, is if you make, because I do, make a little cardigan for one of the grandkids, do a simple border like this with the Orenburg style and go all the way around the cardigan with lace. and attach that and everything on the corners and everything else. My mind was blown. I mean, that was just brilliant. Just the things that she has been able to do and put together. I am just like at such a low level student, but I want to get better, right? You know, I want to get better. I want to graduate. I want to go to first grade. I gotta go farther, right? I'm still down there, but I want to get to first grade. We're not talking about collegiate level. I'm like, hey, can I get the watercolors now? Right? You know, I figured out the big crayon. Can I have a smaller crayon? You know, that type of thing. And I think it's spectacular to be put in that position. How exciting. At least I've been crocheting for over 40 years. I've been knitting for, I've been saying 25 years for probably like 5-10 years. So I'm not sure how long I've been knitting, but a long time. You know, and I twisted all my stitches when I first started knitting because I taught myself how to knit and nobody was around. YouTube wasn't around. We didn't have all those things. And I learned how to crochet first, and then I'm teaching myself through a book, and I didn't realize that I was twisting all my stitches. And it was fine, except everything's on a bias, right? And then for felting, really bad for felting. And it was a more experienced knitter that saw what I was doing and said, hey, do you always twist your stitches? I didn't know what that meant. I'm like, I have no idea what she's talking about, right? And I'm like, yeah, because this is how I knit. So I have no idea what you're saying. So show me. So she did, and it was a learning curve. It was a learning curve to not twist all my stitches, especially doing those purl. I do continental knitting. That purl stitch, whoo, that was a bugger. Did it, right? But it was elevating. It was somebody who was better than I was. It was somebody who was more experienced. And I'd been making things, garments, all sorts of stuff. I had fabric and I made stuff, right? But I needed somebody better than me and more experienced to show me some things and to teach this. And I am not expert level, but during my retreat, I was with expert level. And I thought that was pretty fantastic. There are other things. I know there are lace knitting guilds, things that I've never been part of, but there are things along that line. I think you can join those things, and they have correspondence courses now, submitting swatches, pieces, and everything, and being critiqued on what you're doing and sending back and kind of learning to get to the expert and master level. And I've never really had an interest in doing that previously, but after going through this course, I would like to get better. I would like to, we didn't even breach the subject of, hey, do you have any pointers on how to teach me to knit faster? You know, because if you can knit faster, then maybe I can maybe make things almost as quickly as I can drain them up. Not really, but you know what I'm getting at. But we didn't get into any of that. Like I said, I was at such kindergarten level. The last thing I needed to do is like, excuse me, how do I write a thesis? And like, the red crayon's over there. I mean, that's where we're at. And I really don't say that, you know, like, depreciating the value of what I've made or anything along that line. It's just such a stark difference when you can do things and you can make crafts and everything, and you can create stuff, and then you're with an expert within their field. That's the difference. You know, maybe it's like, hey, you cook every night and then you're with the whatever chef that you think is really, really cool, and you're watching the difference. Like, but I make food that tastes good. Like, they do artwork in food that tastes good, if that makes a difference on that, you know. And that's where I was at. That's another way of looking at it is, yeah, I make pretty things, but I was in the presence of a master working on this, and it has inspired. Okay, where do we really use aspire? Inspired. Anyway, it inspires me to want to get better. It inspires me to make something that's kind of out of my wheel well for quite some time. I'm not going to lie. It's been a long time since I've picked up lace yarn and started working with it. I think the last couple of times that I had worked with actual lace weight yarn, it was with crochet. Believe it or not, it was crocheting with lace weight and making some very nice, lightweight, beautiful garments. Yeah, that's just stunning. But I don't remember the last time, and I've got a good collection of lace yarn. Not necessarily the, 2,000 to 3,000 yards of one color kind of a situation like those huge 4 foot by 4 foot shawls were, but I've got a good collection. And I mean, this little ball, did I just set it down? Where did I put it? This little ball, like I said, is 600 yards. When I talk about that with like the yarn stash, and I've got lots of yarn and everything, one of the other things, and this is kind of tongue in cheek, the reason I love the smaller yarns, fingering's my favorite, is this right here. You know how many of these things you can stash in one of these cubes, right? You know, and this, depending on how fast you are, can be multiple months. Okay, let's face it, 6 months maybe. I don't know. I've never knit one of these balls of yarn. I haven't. I've never knit one and you know, like finished it. I haven't. So I don't know how long it takes. Maybe not as long if I use the highlighter tape. Maybe not as long if I actually looked at the chart and stopped ripping things out, right? But this right here, this is multiple months worth of enjoyment. And you can hide a bunch of these in just like one cube, right? Whereas you get that one ball of bulky, you know, and like, okay, now if you're decent with crocheting and knitting, you can go through a ball of bulky in a day. I don't think you could go through this in a day. Yeah, not knitting. I don't know. I mean, are there ways that you could? Sure. If you did like the Indian plying and everything on this, and then maybe crocheting or something, there's ways, but in general, no. That's 600 yards of lace yarn. That's going to take a while. And on zeros, that's going to be a while. I mean, the sheer amount of hours of absolute enjoyment. Okay, there might be some frustration too, right, as I'm unknitting, but whatever. You know, that one tiny little ball is. And that's why on like something like this, the price for the ball of yarn might be really expensive in compared to what you normally purchase, but that could be, depending on the skill level, 6 months to go through. It's like, oh, okay. So a lot more economical dollar-wise, but you kind of have to look at it that way on how quickly are you going to go through it and, you know, definitely enjoying it. And I want to get better on that because, as we put it, I've got this. I showed this yesterday. I'm going to show it again because I just want to drool over it because it's gorgeous. So this is this rust beautiful. That's a silk. That's a, do I have anything else? Nope. So this is a silk right here. And that is stunning. And then I've got this cashmere right here. And I've got two of these. And that's 600 yards right there of the cashmere. Oh my gosh, that beautiful rust. So they can be run together or separately. So I have enough, since I've got two of these. This is 1,500 yards. I think this is 600 for each of these. I have enough that I can do a large something running them together and then have enough to make something else beautiful with this. And this to me just looks like a bobbin of sewing thread, right? Some of the industrial sewing machines. It's not, but I mean, that's what that looks like. It's gorgeous. And I want to be able to use that. I'm using the purple as a practice piece before I jump onto this. I have a pattern already in mind, and I do have it in my hot little hand, so to speak. So I do want to do that. Some of the other yarns, let me pull this out. Let's see. Okay. This is over 1,000 yards. That is a bright orange, tomato red orange, and it's like 1,090 yards. This is Skaska Designs 100% Mongolian cashmere lace weight, 100 grams. 100 grams is 1,000 yards. Okay, this is tiny. This is beautiful. And this is stuff that Galena and her husband, when they were doing shows, George has since passed, but when they were doing shows together, this was their business, Skaska Designs, and they would go to shows like 20 to 30 some odd shows, you know, different yarn vendors and stuff like that. And they would have all the shawls, the Russian shawls and everything, and then the supplies to go ahead and make it. So this right here, it's 1,000 yards. Like I said, little purple one's like 600. Enough to make a very large shawl. So yeah, price-wise, this, you know, years ago was $49. It's 100% cashmere, $49. Like, yes, that is a lot of money. Did I get them when I originally saw that and her and her husband? Because I met her husband. I didn't take any classes from her back at that point, but I did see her husband manning the booths, and it was a joke because I'm like, I don't remember his face because I was looking at the yarn. Right? Yeah, I was looking at the yarn. I was doing that type of stuff, looking at the yarn, looking at the book, showing my husband this gorgeous lace, going, oh my gosh, one day I would love to make that type of stuff. So I have since purchased said yarns, but I couldn't at the time because that was just, we had kids. It was a choice, feed the kids, buy yarn. I fed the kids. I chose wisely. So that is one of the colors. And then while I was at the retreat, obviously we all have our color palettes. And she's like, wait a minute, I've got one for you. Dijon. It is a mustard color. Oh my gosh. And again, it is called Dijon, right? It's the Dijon color. 100% Mongolian cashmere, lace weight, stunning. And this is like years worth of yarn for me. Just, like, oh, look, I got a year's worth of yarn. I'm like, this is it. I won't put these together. I mean, she does intarsia lace. I've not mastered intarsia with yarn, right? Let alone lace and doing lace work, not just lace weight, but actually doing lace patterns. Like, oh, that's crazy. And I know she's got some DVDs on that one too. But these are the yarns, and I also picked up a cone of yarn, but these are the yarns that I picked up. And, just the aspiring to work with these. And I had texted my friend, I'm like, which one should I start with? And my friend said the rust, and my husband said the rust, and I completely agree. But I thought that I needed a little more practice before getting into the good yarn, which is humorous because this is also in that same vein and quality of the good yarn. It's a smaller ball, but it is also of that. It just purple. We love purple. My husband loves me in purple, so he loves the fact that I'm working on this, and it will fit everything as far as that's concerned. And it's just going to be this beautiful lacy. I'm not sure how long. I don't know. I mean, I can use all the yarn and see how long that gets, or maybe all the yarn would be too long. I have no idea. I'm not there yet, right? I'm like this far. I'm like, whoo, I just feel like I'm amazing at this moment. I put holes in lace. I did this on purpose. Those weren't accidental holes. I did this. So if you're ever questioning your skills and your abilities, you can do it. It doesn't matter where you are along the theme and everything, the journey, how many years you've been knitting or crocheting. Obviously, I'm talking about knitting right now, but it doesn't matter. There's places where you can learn more. You can pick up. You can do different skills, no matter how long you've been doing it. Like I said, I've been knitting 25, 30 years, and this is humbling me in a good way. And I love it. I absolutely love it. And I am so determined to make something beautiful that I can be proud of and that I can present to Elena like a kindergartner wanting my picture posted up on the person's refrigerator. I swear to God, that is where I'm at. I want to be able to bring this and go, okay, do you have a magnet? I want my picture on your refrigerator, right? And I know that really sounds silly, but that's where I'm at. It's right there. There are so many levels of difference, and I recognize that, and I appreciate that. And I'm so happy I've got these books. You can get this book, The Gossamer Webs, Orenburg Lace Shawls, on Amazon. It comes in and out of stock. Obviously, they are used books, and some of them look a little better than others. Not gonna lie. I've purchased 2 of them, and yeah, one for myself, one for my friend, and some of them do look better than others. Oh yeah, look, see? I commented I was going to get it signed. Yeah, there we go. March 2025. So I do have this one signed. And this is a 1998 edition. So that's what I mean by it's going to be older as far as that goes. But I like to have them on hand. The cool thing that we have nowadays that I didn't have that ability necessarily in 1998 if I would have bought the book then, is I have a printer at my house. Okay, and it does copies. 20 plus years ago, we didn't have that. You might have, we didn't. But we also have cool things like phones and iPads and tablets and stuff. You can take a picture of your graph and then expand it up and make it easier for you to read and to look at. Oh my gosh, that is amazing. So you don't always have to have the book like this and looking at the different stuff. So there are so many benefits on that. I'm absolutely loving all of this. I'm learning so much, and it's fantastic to be in this position. It just is. It is absolutely fantastic to be here and go, I can do this. one stitch. I can do this. So if you're looking at any type of, you're watching to the different channels and you're like, I don't know how to crochet, I want to do that, you can. If you're looking at it going, I can crochet, but I don't know how to knit and I'd like to, you definitely can. It doesn't matter how long. You can see I've been doing it for, I don't know, 35 years. I have no idea. And I'm still learning. So, and I feel like a beginner, like a massive beginner. So it doesn't matter. Your journey is your journey, whether it's slow or quick. I swear other people start and they learn so much faster than I did, and that's wonderful. But all of that doesn't matter. It's, are you happy doing it? Are you learning something? Does it make your eyes light up? Do the possibilities get you all kinds of excited on what you can do next? If that's the case, try it. And so what if you mess up? I've messed up a bunch. I've messed up a lot. If this is, if you've watched a few of my other other channels, other videos, you'll see it. I show it. It's like, oh, wait, you're on YouTube. Everything's perfect. No, it's not. It's not. Because why? Because I'm human and I make mistakes. And I show them to you because they're there and they're real. Did I do it on purpose? No. Did I want to pull out a full ball out of a sweater and everything because I made mistakes? I'm talking about my yoke sweater, by the way. No, I didn't. But it wasn't going to fit me as it was, so I had to do the corrections. We all do it. And this is, it's like for me right now, drinking the fountain of youth, because I'm at the beginning of my knitting, right? Just learning, right? And that's where I feel right now. So that's why I'm drinking from the fountain of youth. I'm like going backwards in time going, does this look right? Did I do it? Did I make a mistake? And I'm like, can you look at it and check? Can you look at it? That doesn't look right, right? So I'm right there. So if you're just learning how to knit and you're just coming into this whole field, I'm right there with you. We're on different projects, but I'm right there with you. And we can do it. We can do it together. One stitch at a time, we can conquer whatever it is. We got this. All right, everybody. With that, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. You guys have a great day, night, evening, whatever it happens to be. And I will talk to you again later. Bye-bye.